Let's be honest for a second. The financial advice you hear on TV, the tips you read in the morning papers, and the strategies your neighbors talk about at barbecue parties, they are all designed for one purpose. They're designed to keep you exactly where you are. They are the placebo for the masses. They make you feel like you are participating in the game, but in reality, you are just the liquidity for the real players. There are two sets of rules in this world. The first set is the public rules. These are the rules they teach you in school. Work hard, save 10% of your salary, diversify your portfolio, and buy a house. These rules are safe, they are comfortable, and they guarantee that you will remain middle class until the day you die. Then there is the second set of rules. We call this the shadow code. These are the rules discussed only behind the closed mahogany doors of boardrooms in Omaha, New York, and Zurich. You will never hear Charlie Munger or me explicitly shout these rules on a TV show. Why? Because they are often uncomfortable, they are counterintuitive, and frankly, they are often offensive to the average person's sensibilities. The billionaire's mindset is not just better. It is fundamentally different. It is an entirely different operating system. While the 99% are obsessed with trying to be smart, the 1% are obsessed with trying not to be stupid. While the 99% are busy chasing opportunities, the 1% are busy saying no. While the 99% seek social approval, the 1% seek lonely truth. Today, I am going to pull back this curtain. I am going to share with you 7 rules that billionaires use in silence. These are the levers we pull when no one is watching. Warning, what you are about to hear might contradict everything you have been told about money. It might make you feel that we are lazy or even ruthless. But if you truly want to cross the chasm from working for money to owning the system, you must unlearn the public rules and install the shadow code. Welcome to the real game. Rule number 1, and this is perhaps the most important mental model Charlie and I have ever used. It is called the cult of inversion. Most people approach life and wealth with a forward-looking question. How can I become rich? How can I find the next Apple? How can I be a brilliant investor? This sounds logical, but it is mathematically exhausting and prone to error. Billionaires flip the question we ask. How can I ensure I do not die poor? What are the things that will absolutely kill my wealth? And then we simply spend our entire lives avoiding those things. Charlie Munger always said, all I want to know is where I am going to die, so I will never go there. People laugh when they hear this. They think it is a joke. It is not a joke. It is the cornerstone of preserving capital. Let me give you a concrete example. In the late 90s, the dot-com bubble was going crazy. Everyone was becoming a millionaire overnight buying internet stocks that had no earnings. People called me a dinosaur. They said Warren has lost his touch. Warren doesn't understand the new economy. The public rule said, go chase the growth. Be smart. Figure out which tech company will win. My shadow rule is inversion. I do not know who will win, but I know what kills a business. No cash flow, high valuation, and an incomprehensible business model. So I did nothing. I did not try to be smart. I just tried not to be stupid. When the bubble burst, the smart people who were chasing 100% returns went to zero. They died financially. I survived. And in the game of compounding, survival is the only thing that matters. You see, the mathematics of loss is cruel. If you lose 50% of your money, you do not need a 50% gain to get back to even. You need a 100% gain. If you lose 90% of your money, you need a 900% gain just to get back to where you started. Most people spend their lives digging themselves out of holes they shouldn't have fallen into in the first place. Billionaires do not dig holes. We do not use leverage because leverage is the only way a smart guy can go broke. We do not invest in things we do not understand, no matter how much our neighbors are making on them. We do not let emotions drive our trades. This is the art of subtraction. You do not get rich by adding more IQ points. You get rich by subtracting the points of stupidity. So here is your first lesson in the shadow code. Stop trying to be a genius. The world is full of poor geniuses. Instead, focus all your energy on eliminating the few fatal mistakes that can wipe you out. If you can just avoid being stupid for a long enough time, you will eventually win. It is that simple and that hard. This brings us to rule number 2. If the first rule was about how not to lose, this one is about how to win big. This rule directly challenges Wall Street's most sacred dogma. We call it the art of radical concentration. If you go to any financial advisor, the first thing they will tell you is, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. Buy 100 stocks. This sounds prudent. It sounds responsible. But this is exactly why you will never become a billionaire.
In the Shadow Code, we follow Andrew Carnegie's advice. Put all your eggs in one basket, and then watch that basket like a hawk.
Here is the dirty little secret. Diversification is protection against ignorance. If you do not know what you are doing, if you do not understand the business, then yes, you should diversify. It keeps you from blowing up. But if you are someone who knows what they are doing, diversification makes little sense. Think about it. If you truly understand 5 great businesses, why would you put money into a 20th business that you know nothing about? It is like having Michael Jordan on your team, but trading him away to sign 10 mediocre bench players just for the sake of variety. It is a madness of wasted intellect. Charlie Munger and I have a famous analogy called the punch card theory. I tell college students today, if at the start of your career I gave you a punch card with only 20 slots in it, this represents all the investment decisions you can make in your entire lifetime. Every time you make an investment, you punch a hole. When the 20 holes are used up, you can never invest again. If you truly live by this rule, you would become extremely wealthy. Why? Because you would treat every swing of a bat with extreme preciousness. You would not gamble on mediocre opportunities. You would wait patiently. You would sit in the water like a crocodile. You would read hundreds of annual reports just to find that one perfect, flawless prey. When that prey finally appears, when the odds are heavily stacked in your favor, you do not just bet a little. You bet heavy. You put 40%, maybe even 50% of your net worth on the line. Look at the real billionaires. How did Bill Gates get rich? Microsoft. How did Bezos get rich? Amazon. How did Elon Musk get rich? Tesla. Not a single one of them got rich by buying 100 stocks. Wealth is created in concentration and only preserved in diversification. This is a psychological gain. Can you endure long periods of boredom just for that one moment of thunderous action? Most people cannot. They have action bias. They feel that if they are not buying something, they are wasting time. But remember, in our rules, frequent trading is not only expensive, it is fatal. What you need is that punch card and one beautiful home run. Now let us talk about rule number 3. This one is not about money, but about your soul. Without this rule, you would not survive 10 minutes in the stock market. This rule is called the inner scorecard. In this age of social media, everyone lives on a massive outer scorecard. You buy a luxury car to make your neighbors jealous. You go on vacation to post on Instagram. Your self-worth is built on likes and applause from others. This might work in the average person's world, but in the world of extreme wealth, this is suicide. To be a successful contrarian investor, you must possess a capability for psychological isolation. You must be able to stand on the opposite side of the crowd, watch everyone say you are wrong, say you are crazy, and still sleep soundly at night. If I cared what Wall Street thought of me in the late 90s, I would have bought internet stocks and I would have gone broke. But I did not care. I had an inner scorecard. I knew what was right, and even if the whole world voted against it, facts do not change because of a vote. I often ask people a psychological question. Would you rather be the world's greatest lover, but have everyone think you are the world's worst lover? Or would you rather be the world's worst lover, but have everyone think you are the world's greatest lover? This is a brutal question. If you choose the latter, if you choose the reputation over the reality, then you will never master this shadow code. Because on the road to accumulating wealth, you will face countless moments like this. You will need to make decisions that look stupid, cheap, or outdated. I have lived in the same house for over 60 years. I drive an ordinary car. I eat McDonald's. Many people say, Warren, you are so rich. Why don't you enjoy it? They do not understand. I do not need to spend money to prove to anyone who I am. Your reputation or your face is the most expensive liability on your balance sheet. Many middle-class people go broke simply because they are trying to maintain an external image they cannot afford. They are paying for face, trying to impress people who do not even care about them. Billionaires do not care about face. We care about the moat. We care about cash flow. When you shift your focus from the external to the internal, when you no longer need outside validation to confirm your decisions, you gain a superpower, you gain true independence. Only when you do not need an audience can you perform this play well. That is the secret of how we win in silence. Now let us enter rule number 4. If the previous rules felt hard, this one might feel confusing, because this rule sounds like it is encouraging laziness. This rule is called the art of doing nothing. In modern society, busyness is worn like a badge of honor. If you ask someone how they are doing, they will proudly tell you, oh, I am swamped. In the public rules, busyness equals productivity and action equals results. But in the shadow code, busyness is often a synonym for mental laziness. If you walk into my office, you will find it quiet as a library. There is no Bloomberg terminal flashing lights, no traders shouting orders, and not even a computer on my desk. I spend most of my time doing two things, sitting and reading. Someone once described my investment style as lethargy bordering on sloth. They were right. This lethargy is intentional. Blaise Pascal once said something profound. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Wall Street traders suffer from a condition called action bias. They feel that if a stock goes up, they must sell. If it goes down, they must buy. They are like fish biting at every lure. This frenetic activity not only generates massive friction costs and taxes and fees, but more importantly, it interrupts the rhythm of compounding. You'll have to understand, money is not made in the buying and the selling. Money is made in the waiting. When you plant a tree, you do not dig it up every day to see if the roots are growing. You let it sit there. What you need to do is exactly nothing. This doing nothing is actually incredibly difficult because your emotions will attack you. You will feel bored. You will feel anxious. You will feel like you are missing out on the action outside. This requires extreme discipline. Our job is not action. Our job is filtering. I read 500 pages of material every day. I absorb information. I build mental models. And in this process, 99% of the time, my conclusion is to do absolutely nothing. This is active laziness. We are waiting for the hurdle to get low enough. We are waiting for the decision that does not require brilliance to make. It is like a crocodile by the river. It might stay motionless for a whole month, even letting flies land on its nose. It looks like a rock. But when that wildebeest finally steps into striking range, its action is thunderous. The quieter you are during peacetime, the more ferocious you can be during wartime. If you waste your energy on daily trivial trades, when the real fat pitch comes, you will be too exhausted, or worse, you will be out of ammunition. Next is rule number 5. This might be the most brutal rule regarding time management and life planning. It is called ruthless subtraction. Most people think success is about addition. More projects, more friends, more skills, more opportunities. They want to grab everything. But in the Billionaires' logic, the definition of success is that you say no to almost everything. Let me tell you a story. It is about my personal pilot, Mike Flint. Mike worked for me for 10 years. One day he came to me and said he felt stagnated in his career. He asked me what he should do. I told him to do an exercise. I said, Mike, write down the 25 most important goals in your career. He took some time and wrote down those 25 goals. Then I said, now circle the top 5 most important ones. This was hard. Mike thought for a long time and finally circled the 5 goals he wanted the most.
Now, he had 2 lists. List A was the 5 core goals.
List B was the remaining 20. Mike looked at me and said, I think I understand. I will focus my main energy on list A. And in my spare time, or when I have extra capacity, I will slowly work on list B. After all, those are things I want to do too. I told him, no, Mike, you got it wrong. You got it completely wrong. Those remaining 20 goals are not your to-do list. They are your avoid at all costs list. Until you have completed those top 5 goals, you must not spend a single minute on those remaining 20 goals. Your eyes cannot even look at them. Why? Because this is why most people fail. What destroys you is not the obviously bad ideas or the evil things. Those are easy to reject. What truly destroys you are the good ideas. It is those opportunities that are good but not great. Those 20 goals are the mediocre good opportunities. They are attractive, they can bring you a little return, but they will suck your time and energy like leeches, ensuring you never reach a world-class level on the 5 things that matter. Focus means you have to cut what you love. It means you have to kill the alternatives that you also enjoy. This sounds ruthless, but in a world of limited resources, this is the only way to win. If you chase 2 rabbits, you will catch neither. In this rule, we do not even recommend you chase 1 rabbit. We recommend you stare at the rabbit hole until the rabbit runs out itself. This is the power of subtraction. For achievement depends not on how many things you do, but on how many things you refuse for the sake of the right thing. This brings us to rule number 6. This is a rule that the rich rarely discuss publicly because it sounds too much like moral preaching. But in the shadow code, we do not view this as morality. We view it as the highest form of economic leverage. This rule is called reputation is the ultimate leverage. I have a famous quote. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you will do things differently. In the eyes of the masses, business is about deception. For a 10% profit, you can sacrifice a little bit of principle. But in the circle of billionaires, the logic is the exact opposite. As long as I do not lose my reputation, I can afford to lose all my money. Why? Because in the top-tier business game, efficiency is everything. If you and I do business, and we need a 1,000-page contract, 50 lawyers, and 3 months of due diligence to prevent the other side from cheating, then the transaction cost is too high. Before we even start making money, we are already bankrupt from the friction costs. But at Berkshire Hathaway, we often do acquisitions worth billions of dollars. Sometimes we do not even have a contract. We just have a handshake. How is this possible? Because the other side knows that Warren Buffett's word is gold. And I know the other side is trustworthy. It is precisely because of this extreme trust that our deal speed is faster than anyone on Wall Street. While others are still reading legal clauses, we have already written the check. This is reputation leverage. If you are a person of integrity, your business resistance approaches zero. Opportunities will come knocking on your door because everyone wants to do business with someone who will not stab them in the back. So treat integrity as a cold, hard business strategy. In a world full of scammers, honesty is a scarce resource. And according to supply and demand, scarce resources always command the highest premium. Now, let us talk about the final rule, rule number 7. This is the ultimate wisdom on how to survive in the casino. This rule is called understanding who is the sucker. If you have been in the game 30 minutes and you do not know who the patsy is, you are the patsy. Many people go broke, not because they do not work hard, but because they misjudge their position in this brutal ecosystem. You must be brutally honest with yourself. Where is your edge? Where is the boundary of your circle of competence? The public rules encourage you to try everything. Step out of your comfort zone. Learn new things you do not understand. The shadow code says, do not be stupid. Stay inside your circle of competence. I have spent my whole life not understanding semiconductors. I do not understand cryptocurrencies either. Even though my best friend Bill Gates is in tech, I still do not touch tech stocks. Because I know in that field I'm the sucker. I have no edge there. If I rush in with my money, those geniuses who are 50 years younger than me and no code will eat me alive. Admitting I do not know is not weakness. It is the highest form of intelligence. You do not need to understand a lot of things to get rich. You just need to understand a few things and stick to doing only those few things. When you see your neighbor making a fortune speculating on a virtual currency you simply cannot understand, what do? The masses will get jealous and rush in to follow the trend. The rich will say, congratulations to him, but I do not understand that kind of money, so I do not care. If you do not know who your counterparty is, if you do not know why you can win this trade, then you are gambling. And the house always wins in the end. So draw your circle of competence. It does not matter if it is small. As long as you stay inside, no one can beat you there. All right, these 7 rules are the destination of our 50-minute journey. Let us review. The cult of inversion, radical concentration, the inner scorecard, the art of doing nothing, ruthless subtraction, reputation leverage, and understanding the sucker. These rules sound simple, right? But I can guarantee you out of every 100 people who finish this video, only 1 will truly execute them. Why? Because these rules require you to fight against human nature evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. Your nature wants to fit in, wants validation, wants to be busy, and wants to get rich quick, while this shadow code requires you to be lonely, indifferent, patient, and even look a bit stupid. This is the road less traveled. This is why the seats in first class are always empty. But I do not want this video to be just another piece of entertainment that you enjoy watching and then forget. I want to issue a challenge. If you are serious, if you truly want to take back control of your life, I want you to write down in the comment section 1 old rule you are determined to break. Or write down 1 new rule you swear to execute. Maybe it is I will no longer pay for face. Maybe it is I will only bet within my circle of competence. Maybe it is I am willing to be a patient crocodile. Write it down. This is a contract. Not with me, but with your future self. When the day comes that you actually cross that class divide, be it 10 years from now, please come back to this video and reply to yourself, I did it. By then you will discover you have not just changed your savings, you have changed the trajectory of your entire family's destiny. The market is open. Now go win your chips.